Well, hello friends. Welcome to the Mia Verde channel. I hope you are having a wonderful day. I am coming in today to talk about burnout. We have been moving right along in our burnout series, and I am so excited and happy about the feedback that I'm getting from you. Keep it coming, keep it coming. This has been such a blessing for me. To be able to share my story and meet some of you and actually discuss and try to help and us all move together as a community of corporate and professional women to overcome and I guess I would say a community of life after burnout. If you are going through burnout and overwhelm, you have found the right channel. If you are a professional woman, especially a woman of color who has found yourself at a place where you are empty and just out of gas, out of hope, and in despair, and don't know what to do because you have worked your way up to the top and now you're kind of stuck there in an unhappy place. This is the channel for you. I go through tips and tricks and really foundational things to help you get through and overcome burnout, workplace burnout to be specific. So subscribe, like, share, and make sure you comment. I am building a community of like-minded women who are professionals that have experienced or are experiencing workplace burnout, and we are on a journey to become our highest self. So we are operating at our highest self and bringing those along who want to join. So today's topic is, yesterday we talked about the physical, or the last vlog we talked, again, this is a new vlog, so I don't know if I'm going to be posting them daily or not, but we talked about the physical impacts of stress from workplace burnout. And I talked about weight and health and knowing your numbers, blood pressure, things like that, and the traumatic and tremendous effect that it has on your health. And so the importance of getting those things under control. I shared my story about how I lost 70 pounds, and it was one of those things where, are your friends because you're thinking you're trudging along and you're doing things out of convenience as far as eating and all of that, because you're so busy that you don't have time to really be healthy and make better choices. And then I turned around and looked up, and I was probably the unhealthiest I had ever been in my life. So we talked about that from a physical aspect. Today, I want to talk about sleep. Sleep is another physical manifestation of stress, or lack of sleep. Is another physical manifestation of stress that we oftentimes, whether we realize it or not, we deal with it when we're in high visibility positions, or we are in high stress situations, high powered jobs. So sleeping, my journey with sleep, oh my gosh. So at one point at my, the peak of my stress, my workplace burnout, I was not sleeping. And if this sounds familiar to you, comment in the chat, sis. Are you getting your sleep? I was not sleeping. I would be lucky if I probably got 4 to 5 hours, and it was not consecutive. They were not consecutive hours. They were pieced together because I would fall asleep. Now, in my case, I could fall asleep in 2 seconds because it was that perpetual feeling of exhaustion. And so I could fall asleep rather quickly, but I would only sleep for an hour or two. And then I would wake back up, and then the stress of looking at the clock and saying, oh, I got to be up at 5. Because remember, I had committed to one part of my life. I had committed to being a healthier me, and that was through exercise and eating healthy. So I was looking at the clock like, hey, I got to be up at 5 o'clock. And that gave stress, right? And that contributed to the insomnia. The stress about not getting enough sleep added to the stress. So I wanted to give a few tips that I've learned that have really helped me along the way. One of the disclaimers I want to give is I am not a medical doctor. I hope my camera's not crooked. I am not a medical doctor. And so there are other things, again, that can contribute to your lack of sleep. let me tell you, during this burnout journey, I want you and your primary care physician to become best friends. And then they can refer you to specialists and all of that, depending on your numbers and the things that your specific needs, because this is no joke. And your health, you have one body, and God needs you to be at optimal health so you can be operating at your highest potential as your best self. You want to be healthy. You want to be you want to be hitting all marks, right? And so you've been successful in your career up till now. Take all of that energy and be determined to be your healthiest self so you can see your highest self. So I say that to say, make sure you check with the doctor, because there could be some other factors that have now developed that are preventing you from sleep. But outside of that, and I said that from a physical standpoint too, weight loss and things like that, check with your doctor first, and then they can recommend what's best for you, your best course of action. So some of the things I tried outside of, visiting my doctor was my sleep hygiene. I really had to look at what were some of my habits before I went to bed, and I had some bad ones, y'all. The phone, the scrolling, horrible. I did a horrible job of that. This acts as a stimulant. Are you stimulating yourself before? And I ain't talking about, the good stimulating. Are you stimulating yourself before bed in a way that is keeping you up, right? Stimulants cause arousal. And again, we ain't talking about the good kind. We're talking about activity, brain activity. You want to be in a relaxed state to where there is nothing interrupting. You want to be able to bring that heart rate down. You want to be able to be in a calm state. So what is your bedtime, your sleep hygiene like? For me, caffeine, I'm very sensitive to caffeine. One of the things I thought I was doing to improve my health was a lot of coffee, because it's a vicious cycle. When you can't sleep and you have to be on in the morning, I need caffeine. I can't live without it, right? So coffee, I was working out, so I was taking a lot of, to help with that, because I didn't get any sleep, I was taking a lot of pre-workout stimulants, and that contributed to a lot of my insomnia. So making sure that you watch your caffeine intake. Alcohol. Let me tell you, now I didn't drink a lot, but still, just the amount of, it's Friday, I had a really long day, I had a really tough day, that you reward yourself with a cocktail. You reward yourself with the espresso martini, something, right? So really look at your alcohol consumption, because that really does contribute. It may seem like it relaxes you, but you will not have a full-on restful sleep. So there is lots of research online about that. And so make sure, kind of look at that. The other thing is your routine and environment. Are you going to sleep at the same time every day? I thought, because I was so exhausted and so depressed, that I stayed in the bed every chance I got. I stayed in the bed every chance I got. So yes, I should be sleeping more. I'm always in the bed, but it wasn't a restful sleep. And again, you should only be going to bed when you're sleepy. Your bed should not be where you work. Your bed should not be, it should only be used for certain things. And sleep is one of them. So what is your environment? I slept with computer, notebook, all kinds of, books, and my work was next to me in the bed. How is that restful? I turn over and I'm like, soon as I wake up, that's an excuse for me to pop that laptop open. It's right there. So even if you have an interruption in your sleep because there's a noise outside or something, my brain is activated immediately, and I'm typing, I'm doing whatever, or I'm scrolling on my phone. The TV, I slept with the TV on. I called it my white noise, and the white noise is sometimes good for many people, but the reality is mine was not white noise. Mine was whatever was on YouTube, whatever. Shout out to YouTube. But that is not conducive to sleep. Now, I did find some very helpful, those like cafe, smooth jazz, and all those types of things. The rain, I do like the rainfall, the thunder, storm sounds and things like that. And those did help, and I found those on YouTube as well. But I think for the most part, I had too many different stimulants around me for a restful sleep. So making sure, a lot of light that causes you not to really get into your actual state of restful sleep. So taking a look at those things. Exercise, we talked about exercise the other day. That does help contribute. It was good. I was exercising, but I had all these other factors working against me. And then again, we talked about controlling stimulants. I was consistently or not being consistent with my wake up time. The weekends, I thought that I had earned, because I was off on the weekends, not really off, I thought that I had earned the time to just stay in the bed again. But with that depression, coupling, with your insomnia, I stayed in the bed, not really sleeping, but just not wanting to get up and do anything, right? Just being depressed about my state of life. So making sure that you wake up and get out of bed at the same time every day, even if it's a weekend, and I know that's hard, but if you are committed to this thing that we are all being committed to, and that is reaching your highest self and working at your highest potential, and being most importantly, being a happy, balanced you. That is the most important. That is the biggest blessing, and we are all striving to get there. Then some of these things are going to take some sacrifice, and I think you'll be a better person for it. I'm telling you, some of these things sounded so daunting to me when I, first heard them, and these are the things that have worked for me. So hopefully they can offer some help for you too. I want to talk about stress and cortisol, right? Exercise really does help lower your cortisol levels. That stress brings that on. And us being women of a certain age, we're not in our 20s anymore, although we look like it. No, I'm just joking. But although, we may think that we can still operate at that level and we can still push ourselves, we know that our cortisol levels are rising. We get that middle age spread kind of thing going on. Again, our diets, I talked about my weight gain, all middle, all upper body. And the cortisol also contributes to your insomnia, right? High cortisol levels from stress act as a stimulant in your efforts to go to sleep. So again, it's working against you. Your heart rate is still elevated. This Aura Ring, I talked about this before, has been life-changing for me because it'll tell me, especially really stressful days, it'll tell me in my sleep, your heart rate was elevated while sleeping. I'm thinking, was I having a nightmare or something? What was going on? No, your cortisol is high. So those are some of the things. I want to leave you with some things because it's like, okay, we're talking about all the things that contribute to it, but I want to leave you with some tips to help you combat all of these factors, right? So we talked about your sleep hygiene, we talked about your environment, your stimulants, and I want to talk about actually providing a restful state of mind and trying to wind down before sleep. So I would say journaling is not for me. Some people, journaling is relaxing. For me, if I'm journaling, I'm too apt to get riled up. I'm too apt to get riled up reminiscing on whatever I'm journaling about in my stressful day. So I would not recommend journaling, but if it's peaceful for you, if you're journaling about your hopes, dreams, things like that, maybe it is. That may work. But something like meditation, prayer, devotionals, some people choose the morning. Some people do it at night before they go to bed. They want to talk to their father before they go to bed. That is relaxing. I would say meditation, prayer, journaling, reading. That's what I was getting at. Reading for me is very soothing, and I don't pick some, self-help or some really thick, non-fiction. Again, that's a stimulant. Those are giving you ideas. That's research. That's I don't mean that kind of genre. I mean something lighthearted, comedy, romance, something you enjoy, right? So reading is good for me, but I always pick, fiction or things to relax you. So I would say get yourself, again, we talked about the white noise. I think as long as there's no light attached, nothing to kind of, again, wake you up or stimulate you, white noise can be really good. I think it's very soothing. One of the things I do have to wake up every morning, it is a sad lamp. And you can look that up. It's a sad lamp. Mine is Philips. I have had it for eternity. Again, I have always had some great practices. It was just until recently that those things stopped working for me. And so I had to make some adjustments. But I did keep the good practices I had in place. They were absolutely amazing. My Philips lamp, and I guess that would be equivalent to like right now. If my Philips lamp wasn't going so strong, knock on wood, it'll probably go out tomorrow because I said this. I've had it for years. But if it wasn't going strong, I would get a hatch. That would be next on my list. So it's the equivalent of a hatch. It mimics the alarm can mimic the rising of the sun and the setting of a sun if you want. If you leave it on and you want it to kind of sundown. And so mine, I use it to wake up. It mimics the rising of the sun. You can set the alarm sound to like birds chirping, wind chimes. Y'all, I did the birds chirping thinking it would be such a pleasant idea. Not for me. I was having nightmares of birds chirping and attacking me and me trying to find birds in cabinets and all kinds of stuff. I'm like, where are these birds? To wake up and hear that lamp. So the birds didn't work for me. But in theory, if you love the birds chirping in the morning, that sounds great. For me, it's the wind chimes. It's the melodic wind chimes and the sun rising look effect that makes me feel wonderful when I wake up, right? And so that's the state that I want to wake up in. That's the state I want you to wake up in. So yeah, that is all I have for today, y'all. Those are my sleep tips and tricks. Again, consult a doctor. Get your sleep, get your rest so you can wake up and face the world and work in your purpose and be ready for what God has for you. So I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you next vlog. Bye, y'all.